Hello and welcome to vlog number 29. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do click that button, and if you are a subscriber and you want to be informed whenever one of my videos goes live, don't forget that you need to ding the bell and make it so that it actually tells you, because YouTube won't otherwise. This week's been a quiet week. I've been quite tired. I've been focused on finding work. I'm sure a lot of you out there are as well, and if you are as well, I do wish you the best of luck. It's a very unsettling time in the world at the moment, and so yeah, best of wishes to you all. I've done a few projects. I've tried to get some stuff done when I've had the energy, and so there are a couple of clips coming up, but certainly nothing like the productivity that I normally manage during a week. But hey, that's life, and you really shouldn't beat yourself up, though I have a little bit, honestly. I have felt quite disappointed at myself for how little I've done this week, but that's wrong. Everything is a hobby, and everything that you do is voluntary and is only what you want to do. And if you haven't got the energy, then it's far better to have a bit of a rest and come back when you're feeling fresher and more able to push on with the projects you're working on. So there we are. That's your little word of wisdom from the beard for this week. I'll shut up now and I will come back at the end to wrap up. So the next step on the Balin's tomb is going to be to paint the details. So the tomb, the people, all these things here, the scatter items and the well. And what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to use Vallejo's Foundation White as my first coat on that, because then I'll stain up or wash down or whatever I'm going to do, but that'll at least give me a good base coat. So I'm going to get that done and I will be back when it is finished. I've just had a lot of fun putting the next 6 sunflowers together. If you want to see more about that, you'll need to watch the video I released on Thursday this week, which is about photo etch. These are photo etch sunflowers, and they are being put together for Rosie's Hobbit Hole, which is very close to being put on the wall. The next thing I'm going to be doing for this is I have some resin flower pots. So I'm going to clean a few of them up. I'm not going to just do one, so I'm just going to clean them up using a sharp knife to take the flashing off and the any mould lines that I can find. These, I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head to say it now, but I will later and I'll tell you. It's a good company, I'd recommend them highly. They were going through some issues when I ordered, and while it was a little bit delayed and didn't come very quickly, their communication was completely top-notch. And at the end of the day, life happens, and it's how you cope with problems that matters, not the fact that problems occur. So I was quite impressed. So I'm going to tidy some of these up, and then I will bring you back when I start to paint them. I've cleaned up, washed and spray primed with car primer just these little plant pots, which I'm going to paint now, and then one of them I'll pick, well, I'm not sure which one I'll pick at the moment, but I'll pick one of them to plant all of these sunflowers in. So I'm going to do 2 colours on the first one, which I'm going to paint for you to watch, and then I will probably do the rest off camera. So give it a shake. The first colour I'm going to use is Cavalry Brown, which is from Vallejo and Model Colour. It is 70982, and of course that will appear on the screen, as is my wont for these sections. So we'll get some of that and we'll pop it on my wet palette, which I need a fresh one very soon. And this is going to be taking the place of terracotta. I've actually just this second ordered some terracotta because I don't have any, but this is going to have to do. So it's a nice rich red, as you can see. It's a very reddy brown, and I think it will work quite nicely for a traditional pot colour. So let's get that all painted up. Okay, so that's coloured. And what we're now going to do is we're going to do the earth. And we're going to do the earth, tan earth. Funny that, isn't it? So tan earth is also for model colour and is 70874. So we'll just get a little bit of that after a good shake. And we will drop that in where the earth is. There we are. One plant pot painted. So I'll let that dry and I'll pick some other colours for the others and I'll tell you what I've painted them, but I'll turn the camera off now for now, just because yeah, it's going to be the same thing, just different colours, but I'll show you what I've done when it's finished. I got a little carried away and I finished it, forgot to come back and record. So anyway, here we are. The plant pots and the sunflowers are on Rosie's Hobbit Hole. And they're looking very good. They're drying now. I've used PVA to glue them down. It was a bit of a faff. Wasn't the easiest thing to stick them in there, but now they're in, I'm just so pleased. They're wonderful. I've actually got one more sunflower left over, which I'm going to put somewhere. I'm not sure where. But for now, that's it. I'm going to leave that tonight, let that dry and come back to it tomorrow. And then the only other thing to do will be to stick Gaffer on, which I will do tomorrow as well. I'm not going to fiddle with this now. It's been too awkward and there was a bit of swearing. So yeah, there we are. And the colours I went for, the one on the left is bright yellow with a green, and then the one on the right is the one with that you saw me paint. And I did the larger one with the same colour, and then another one which was shiny black, which will probably go on somewhere else on this diorama as well. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow once those two beautiful sunflower plants have dried completely, and then we will finish this off and get it on the wall. Having finished this off finally a couple of times, we actually are finally getting to the final bit of finally doing it. Finally, this is Gaffer. This is Sam's dad. And in this little home, this little hobbit hole, he lives next door. I don't know whether that's accurate or not, but whatever. And so what I'm going to do, he's not glued in yet, but he's going to stand just here, leaning on the fence, digging with his shovel and shouting at his son as his son runs past to his family, which if we zoom out, are just up there, just on the edge of the shot. So I'm going to get that glued in and leave that to dry, and then the next process will be working out how to actually mount this on the wall. I was also very pleased that this week I managed to get this mounted on the wall. My builder did that for me, and as you can see from these pictures, Rosie was over the moon. I love watching her, looking at the details, to lift her up. She always wants to see it, she always shouts at it, and that is the reason why I made it. I am more than chuffed. It's just wonderful. So there we are. It's on the wall. It's in place. This evening I'm back to the painting desk for the first time for a little while, and I'm going to be doing the two houses here using the same technique as for my painting tutorial that I already did for the small farmhouse. So I've got another small farmhouse and the large farmhouse to do. And I'm also going to start shooting, I may not get it all completed this evening, but I'm going to start shooting a tutorial on how I'm going to paint the church, which is an absolutely stunning building. I love it very much. So that's what I'm going to do. I will come back at the end of the evening and show you how far I've got to. And obviously, as I say, I will probably be filming some shots for the church. So here goes. It's a brand new wet palette as well. Look at that, clean. It's always an exciting moment. For whatever reason, that's taken me a lot longer than I expected. What I've done this evening is stonework and woodwork base on these two buildings, and that's it. That's all I've achieved. I'm quite tired, so that's probably why I'm going a bit slower, but I'm also just trying to do it right. I'm not rushing myself, so if it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer. So I've not done anything on the church, so that tutorial is going to have to wait. I'm way too tired anyway to even consider doing it, so yeah, that's how it is. So there we are. We've done a little bit, and we'll probably do some more tomorrow. It's become time to finish this. This has dragged on for way too many months. So I'm just going to put some music or a video on or something, and work away on these final details which just need painting. As you can see, the white primer has gone on nicely, so I just need to pick out these final details, and then potentially I'll look at maybe washing the wall with some for some highlighting, but I'm not sure I quite actually like it being so sparse and grey, but I might do some detailing on that as well. But first of all, I'm going to pick out these details, so I'll get that done and I will be back when it is finished to show you what it looks like. So yeah, going to finish this today, determined to. It's basic, but I'm going to call that done. It's going to be good enough to play on, and I can always improve it, but I just want to have it mentally out of my to-do list. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the detailing. It didn't take very long at all, and I think that they're just nice little bursts of colour, as you can see, just a little bit of highlighting. It's quite monochrome, but that's also seems to be a styling of how I'm going at the moment with my builds. I'm enjoying the slightly simplistic finish. So yeah, I'm going to wrap that and put it in the rotation to maybe play a game on. Maybe even play a game tomorrow, hopefully. We can but hope. So yeah, onwards and onwards. As you can see at the bottom, the dry stone walling is pretty much there. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. What I'm working on now is doing some hedges and how I'm going to do hedges at this scale. And what I'm doing at the first stage, my first attempt on this one, is I'm making use of this kind of like little fibre type stuff. I bought this a long time ago and I use it often for foliage, or it works quite nicely at a larger scale as vines or what have you, that sort of thing. However, at this scale you can see that, and this might take some time for me to do, and I don't know whether it'll work, so it's going to be an adventure, but if we tease out little strands of it, and we can stick it down using PVA, and I think it will look quite nicely like scale hedges. So I've put a bead of PVA down in exactly the same way as I did for the dry stone wall, and then what I'm doing is I'm going in and putting this fibre down onto the bead of PVA, just like that. And what I'll do is I'll come along later, let me just zoom that in a bit more, a bit better so you can see. I'll come along a little bit later on and probably put another layer down, but I think that'll look quite nice. One other thing to say at this stage is I have decided that I'm not going to be putting a texture paint over all of this. What I'll be doing is I'll be leaving the black, and then I will be putting the scenic materials on, so grasses and what have you, directly over the black. So that's why I've decided that doing this hedgerow now is good, because if I was going to be doing an all over scenic paint and application of dust, then this wouldn't work yet. So there we are. I'm going to crack on with this now. It's a slow process, but it's quite calming because you've got to be very, very careful. Let me just do one more while you're watching. So you just drop it in place and then press it down into the glue, and later on I'll come back, like I say, probably do another application of glue over the top. So I didn't put very much glue down at all, maybe I put too little down this time. So yes, I'll get that done and I'll be back later to tell you how it's gone and if I've changed any of my techniques that I've started with. There you are, you can see that the hedge has been put in place. It is going to need a little bit of attention to make sure that it dries so that it's actually stuck down, as you can see. But one thing to bear in mind is that if any bit doesn't get stuck down, then don't fiddle too much. Adding a little bit more glue or whatever at this stage is fine, but if most of each length is stuck down, then you can come back later and add more glue and stick it down with less chance of disturbing the rest of it. So that's something to say there. So the next step is I'm going to put a little bit of detailing around here. Now this area is actually a ruin. That's what it is on the map. And so what I'm going to do is just, again, using my little cocktail stick applicator, I'm going to come in, put some PVA down and put some large stones in, just around the edge of the actual ruin, just to make it look a little bit like rubble. So a bit of PVA, not very much, and then drop some large stones in place, and these will then bed into the flock and the basing material, which I will add shortly. So there we are. So that's this section detailed. As you can see, it doesn't take very long at this scale to build up quite a nice detail that would be quite prominent in real life, and I think that when it's finished, these little stones will really look nice and they'll stand out well against the green. So there we are. That's that zone done. I will now move on to the next section. Next up, I'm going to be applying some base paint to the cobbled areas. This will be in a very standard way. I have my usual grey paint, and I have a brush and some water. So I will just be applying a heavy overbrush of the grey paint over the top of all of this area. So I will pop some music on and get this done quickly. Okay, there you are. So I'll let that dry and I'll come back over for the dry brush. There you are. As I say, a much shorter one this week, but that's fine. They don't always have to be humongous videos, and you don't always have to achieve humongous amounts in the week, as I said at the beginning of the video. It's been good though, and while I didn't get to begin the memorial, easy for me to say this early on a Sunday morning, memorial build for my father started this week, I did start planning it. So who knows, maybe this time next week you'll have seen what that is, and I'll keep teasering it if not. It's an early morning for me today. Rosie woke me at 3:30 and then she got back to sleep and I didn't, which is why I'm a bit tired, and some of the last clips were quite quiet. It was quite early doors. So anyway, let's grab my cup of tea that's been sitting next to me and raise a toast, and thank you very much for watching Beard Clipper, and don't forget to subscribe, ding the bell, and stay safe, stay healthy and stay well at this crazy time. This is a very hot cup of tea. I might not actually get to drink it. Good though.